Back round to the row. Stay with the car. I'll meet you over there when this is done.
Hope you know what you're doing.
Trust me, Ellis. Here in a bit, this will all be behind us.
I've put about 6 hours into Mafia 3 today, so here is my early review of the game. Of course, judge everything as you will because it's only been 6 hours of the game, and I am playing on the PS4 version, and all the footage you'll see in this video has come from PS4 capture. If you've played the other Mafia games, you won't be disappointed. Mafia 3 is still heavily focused on characters, story, and the world. Even though it is set in an open world environment, and I'll get to that more in a second, it is very similar to Mafia 2 in that like GTA or any of the other open sandbox type games out there, it's not heavily reliant from the get-go and letting you go to do stuff in the open world and just have fun. It forces you through an hour to 2 hours, probably depending on how much time you want to take with it, of the first opening moments of the game, the first several missions. You don't get chances to move around. You'll be instantaneously transported from spot to spot, and you'll be forced through some story missions. So if you don't play open world games for the story, maybe this isn't the game for you, but you do get eventually to do whatever the hell you want. After you get through certain amount of story missions and after a few hours, you will open up to the world. And unlike Mafia 2, there is a lot more to do in Mafia 3 when it comes to the open sandbox world that you have to play with. There is more collectibles to do than just the however many Playboy magazines I think there was in Mafia 2, and they have invested in a more Ubisoft system where you can pick up and insert these, I don't know what they are, like hacking devices into power boxes and something like that, and you will open up and it will reveal collectibles on certain areas of the map. So that's a very Ubisoft-like way to go about things, and I'm glad they implemented that, because when I played Mafia 2, I didn't really care to get all the collectibles, and part of that was because the world wasn't that interesting. It was a huge open space, and you had all this space, but it was very much, you traveled from one spot to another in Mafia 2, and when you got to the places where the story missions would take place, there was stuff to do there, and I really enjoyed Mafia 2, and that was mostly because of the story and the characters, but there was no reason to go flying around. There's no reason to look for stuff. It was very boring and bland when you weren't where the game wanted you to be and there was nothing else happening. Mafia 3, so far, within my time spent with it so far, first 6 hours or so, there's lots happening on the street. People will react to you differently, and this game relies, well, it doesn't really rely, that's a bad way to put it, but this game does do a lot with the fact that you're playing a black character in a time when black people weren't looked upon so greatly, and to say that the least, if you walk down the street next to some white chick, some white rich chick, she is going to, you know, scream, yell, you look at you funny, pull her handbag away from you. She might scream robbery. It's hard to put it to say that it's a racist game, because the game isn't racist, but there is lots of racist things happening in the game, and I think that's great. And not I'll just say racism's great. I think it's great to have stuff like this in the game because it's something we haven't actually seen before, and part of that is because there isn't many non-white characters you're playing as, and you'll know straight away that when you're not playing as a normal character like you have been in think back to every other Mafia game you've ever played, or Mafia-esque like type game, Godfather, Mafia games, all that stuff. You're always playing as the Italian dude, you're always playing as the white dude. So to play as someone who was involved in the Black Mafia, as they put it, or I think that's literally what they call it in the game, it is an interesting take on the open world genre. So the game seems to be locked at 30 frames, which everyone's making a huff and puff about for the PC side today. But as I said, I am playing on the PS4, and it does seem to be running at 30 frames for most of the time, if not dipping below that it's a playable level. A few times it has dipped below to probably the low 20s, where it would be unplayable. but it's usually only happening in those times, similar to what The Witcher did on PS4, and I don't know if they've fixed this issue yet, where it would like save and, you know, the frames would dip to what seemed like 10, 15 freaking frames for like a second or two there as the game saved in the background. But it's really not an issue, since most of the time when it's saving is just like after you finish the mission and stuff like this, and you're just standing there. So it's never going to happen, or it's never happened to me in the middle of a mission or something like that when I'm actually wanting to be doing stuff, flying around, actually have those being able to do stuff. So if you care about that, you know, it's not really an issue for me, but whatever. Other graphical problems I've had, none really. The game looks okay, it looks fine, the character models are good, they look really good, they look a lot better in the cutscenes. In-game stuff, I don't think the world looks all that interesting, and it's not an overall really interesting graphical game. There's nothing that sticks out to me. As I said, the characters themselves look great, but everything else than that, it's just kind of bland. The only bug or weird thing I've had happen to me has been at the start of this video, where the two AI characters hit each other, and other than that, I've had nothing out of the normal happen, or nothing out of the normal for an open world game. Combat is fine, and if you've played Mafia 2, you should know what you're in for. It's more difficult than most third-person shooters are, I'd say. I always remember Mafia 2 playing that on the normal, medium difficulty, whatever you always want to call it. I always thought it was a lot harder than other games on medium difficulty, and it's part of the fact that, like, if you get shot, you'll die very quickly in this game. You can't take too many hits, and also you don't have a lot of bullets. You never seem to have a lot of bullets. You'll get like a few rounds off on your pistol, and then you'll have a few rounds for your sidearm, whatever that may be. You can only carry 2 weapons at a time, and then you'll be out of bullets. So you can't hide behind cover for too long, unless later into the game you can get an ammo upgrade like that. So there is a heavy emphasis for you to rely on stealth, and that's what I've been doing for a lot of the game, and the stealth works fine for the most part. It's hiding behind cover, you can whistle, you can call in enemies, you can have enemies come up to you and killing them by stabbing them through the freaking neck with your huge ass butcher knife is a lot of fun, and I am yet to get bored of it, and that's probably my preferable way to play at the moment, is to just sneak around and stab dudes in the freaking neck. It is fun. But the cover system, I don't know if it's just me, I'm having some trouble with, you can swap between, if you do your usual thing where you can swap between cover, like look to the left and, you know, switch between the 2 places behind a door and stuff like that. But I can't seem to be able to work well with sliding around a cover, like so whistle to a dude and then slide around to the other side of a box. It's like I have to stand up and then like walk around to the other side and then press X again to get behind cover. But of course by then the freaking guy has seen me, so I'm probably dead, and he's probably shot me right in the face. So that's not helpful. Very much like Mafia 2 though, the high interest points here lie in the story and the characters in the world that is being built up. And that is thanks to the great performances that have been given by everyone so far. There's a lot of great performances here, and the great writing. No one is being written stereotypical. You go into this if you're afraid, you're like, oh no, it stars about a freaking black guy in the Mafia, imagine how that's going to be. And I'm saying this as the white dude, but so you can feel free to take that with a grain of salt, but I'm saying that so far as I'm concerned, no one has been written stereotypically. Everyone has been written great. Everyone's been performed well. No one's been played off as the tough guy, black guy, you know, swinging the N-word left, right, and center. That has not been happening at all. He is a dude out for revenge. Lincoln is a great character. He's come back from the war. He's a dude out for revenge now. If you don't want to know why, what happens if you try and dodge all the story elements, I'm not going to be telling you. Something bad happens for him. Now he's out for revenge. He wants to grab take down the whole city. So very much like, if you think back to any of the other Mafia games that you've played in your time, that's this game, except for with better writing so far. Because in those games, honestly, Godfather 2, PS3, even Mafia 2, there was moments in the middle of that game where I seemed to sway, and there was characters I didn't really care for. All the players introduced in Mafia 3 so far, in part to the good writing and no one coming off bad, and in part due to the really good performances that are coming through in this game, no one is boring, and I'm interested in everything that's happening. So if you're wondering if you should pick up Mafia 3, my answer is going to be yes at the moment. If you had to ask me to score it, because you're one of those people that needs a number to be assigned to know if you should pick something up. Now, I repeat, this is after about roughly 6 hours, and this is a very early review score. But if you need it, I'm going to chuck it out at around a 7.5 to an 8, because I'm enjoying the story so much, I'm enjoying all the characters that much, and there is more collectibles, and the fact that they injected the Ubisoft system where you can actually light them up on the map makes me want to go get all the freaking collectibles because I don't need to go on the internet to find a guide. I don't need to follow a freaking video walkthrough for it all. I can do the work in the game myself, find all the pieces I need, because you do actually need to find the things to put into the power poles. You can't just walk up to the power poles and inject them. So there's a two-part system to opening up the map. But when you do open up the map piece by piece, you do get the collectibles in the map. You can get all the collectibles. You get your Playboy magazines. You can get your album covers, all like that. And the collectibles are cool to find because you like seeing, what's the Playboy cover look like? What's the album cover look like? What's the album cover going to be for? Because it's for real music and stuff like that. So I'm interested in the collectibles and I'm interested in the story. So if that all sounds great to you, that's what I'm saying, 7.5 to an 8. We're sitting here, we're doing the numbers right now. This is the number I'm chucking at you. Does that interest you? Maybe you should check out Mafia 3. Are there any glaring problems? No. Personally, I'm having no glaring problems after 6 hours to this game. And everyone, you can say whatever about the whole PC thing locked at 30 frames, but if that's going to be an issue for you personally, I think that's part of your agenda, because that's not really an issue. So if you enjoyed this quick, early opinion, piece, thought thing, I don't know, I've never done one of these before. I've never done one of these before. I just thought I'd chuck up, give you my early impressions on what I thought about Mafia 3. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget the video, it needs a like down below, and you can subscribe for more videos, and you can head over to www.VIVALADIl.com for everything. Or there's more videos on this channel and other channels and stuff. I'm everywhere. Follow me on Twitter @VIVALADILTV. Thank you.